How can we ever forget? How can we ever forget? Especially when you're two people, and even more when you're three people with two beds and no chairs. And if you have a chair, you must have a pen and a paper and a table and a chair. And that's what I told my grandfather. All they used to bother me about or tell me, and jokingly, they used to say, Ronnie, all you ever wanted in your life was a table and a chair. It so happens that in this apartment, that's all I have is a table and a chair. If somebody walks in or rings my bell, the word is bell, I hear it, it rings, I spell it, I number it out. I know somebody is going to come over and say something. I can write down everything they say and then put it back to numbers to see what they said and which number comes out. Put it into a computer database called the genuine era of Excel, of excelling yourself and putting things down regardless, but in order, in a fashion that you can find them. Get into your car, go out of your house knowing you have an address to go home with a license on your car. Put it in reverse or in first. You know you have to think the item of what you are doing. You are getting in the car, and what do? Do you put it into gear? Do you look at what gear? Does the speed come up so you see the speed? You know it's a number. All of a sudden you know there's a number. You know you can count and understand that number while you're driving and have nothing to do. You keep going 7. S-E-V-E-N. I like number 12. Why? Because TW is 43, and ELVES is the 12, is the TWE, is the creation of the elves inside of here, 4 and 3. Why? Because elf, ELVE of 12 equals to 44. It's 44 and 43. It's exactly where we are now. It's the Bat's Mitzvah. You need the girl before you need the guy, because if you get the guy, he's got to wait for the girl. What's he going to do if he can't hump, bump, and jump? It's all about the screwing action, my friend. Nothing comes without the screwing action. When you chew your food, what do you just swallow it down? No, you turn it around. So we got into this car, and we saw the exit was number 39. But that wasn't the exit we were looking for. But we still saw it. We saw another number, and then there was a sign on the side of the road, and a hitchhiker at the same time. I wasn't going to pick the hitchhiker up, but I did. The first thing this person says is, let's go to Toys R Us. And then again, I'm starting to think, Jen, Toys R Us. So we go into Toys R Us. How can we ever forget? You go into Toys R Us, they got all the games. Imagine you go to sleep, and the only thing you have written when you get up, it says, don't forget about the number. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Don't forget about the ABCs. So all I want to see when I get up in the morning is a square piece of paper. I want a square piece of paper, and I want it to say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, and V. Now I know my ABCs. Bullshit. You know nothing. You didn't even do all you did, but you know what happened? As you read A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, at the same time, you said 9 different positions. And every time you landed on a position, position 0 was the departure. Because you always departure and never count from what you're on. It is what you're on. It is 1. But we only count 1 when we go. So it's 1 of where we are and 1 to go from 1 where we came in. 1, 1, and 1. 9, 9, and 9. Don't you know how it works? 5 on one side, 5 on the other side. But wait a second. I looked at my fingers. We're in Toys R Us. How can we forget? They gave us all the tools. Toys R Us, casinos. What more can we ask for? All we need is an accountant coming to the house and explaining to us why we pay taxes and what the money does. How the money works. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Hold on a second. Stop the G. That's gematria tree. H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. That's 8. That's Chaldean. L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, 8, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, and V. 7, W, X, Y, and Z, that's 4. Now I know my ABC. Well, what do I do now? What about the numbers? What about the numbers? You know I'm going to be all over the place, but does anybody know what time it is? 60 and 0. No. When you got 60, on the other end of 60, you have 1380. Did I explain to you what 11, 12, 13 does? I came into this video preparing not to do a video at all. But I'm doing a video now. Now it's 5 minutes. I should just stop to get the ratings up. Put out a 5-minute video 25 times a day. I'm going to have 150 videos a week, 600 a month, and I'm still counting. Let's go back to clocks. Let's go back to 12 and 13. Here's the first thing I want to say. First of all, I always thought there was 64 minutes in an hour. In the 64 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in the day, which gives me 180, hold on, 24 times 4 is 80, and is 16. Would that be 106? 4 by 24. 24 and 24 is 48, is 96. 24 times 4 is 96. But every minute that goes by, there is 90 American seconds. American. Old world, new world. American. Came to America to discover time again. Time again, because everything was already filled in the old nations. Now we came to rebuild the nation to come again. So if we have 64 minutes of 90 seconds, we now have another 480 minutes or 48 or space, created space, by putting 1.5 times what the actual value is in a regular day. We have now gained space. Do you follow me? There is now 64 times 1.5. There is 96 regular 60 seconds on the clock in an actual hour. 96 minutes an hour. In 10 hours, where's my pen? In 10 hours, 64 times 90 seconds equals to 96 minutes, which is a regular minute, times 5. I'm timesing it by 5 because it's going to make the 6 look like a 0. I don't want to have points. I want to have everything equal. Do you know why? Because you know how this all began with 12 and 13? This all began because in the 24-hour day, there's 1,440 minutes. We don't want to end up, if we can, on a 0 or a 60. Because those will be canceling 0 hours. Do you understand what I mean? We don't want to meet here. We have to meet here, here, here. We can never meet here, because then we cross the bridge. When you cross the bridge and you meet here, well, dig me a goddamn hole and bury me. Put me 6 feet down, 6 feet down with 2 feet up and 10 toes pointing out, and 5 and 5 on each side. So when you're counting, there ain't anything more than this, and you can never multiply anything more than 1.5, because anything times more than 1.5, you don't have at all. If you multiply by more than 1.5 and 2, 2 times 5 becomes 10. You're now on the 2 feet. You have 15. You need 5 as the opposition, because the 5 on the bottom needs 15 to go that way, and you splice yourself like this. I know you don't understand. I didn't explain it properly, but in time we will all know what I say, because you're here. So we have 480 minutes and 960 minutes. Gives you 1,440 minutes a day. I told you I didn't want the 60, but I have the 40 and the 60. Do you follow me? 4 and 6. Or do we have 540 minutes, but then we only have 900 minutes? That 900, I'm not going to explain this. I'm just going to just show you how it goes. Now that we have 540, let's go to 600 minutes, but that's 10 hours. So if we go to 10 hours, it's 600 minutes. The other minutes of the rest of the day would be 840 minutes. That's the one I actually like. 600 minutes and 840 minutes. And one of the reasons for this, I'm going to show you in a second. 600 minutes is 10 hours. This is 14 hours. This is a reflection of the Super Bowl. This is a reflection of time for the world that we're in, the reflection of the mind of Mars, because this is what 60 does. 60 also says orange, and you must buy the palate. Something to do with our tongue. I don't know what it is. I'm all alone, so I can't figure out the action of what goes on. So this here becomes space and time. This is the Super Bowl that it was marking. Here is the lower part of 480. It's 840. This is 8 hours. This is 16 hours. 1.5 times. This is exactly where it would be. 1.5 times. So this would be 8 hours in the day. This would be 16. You have 24 hours in the day. But now we're talking about this, not this. I'm trying to divide up this. 720 and 720 crosses over the bridge. We don't want that. 660 and 780. You want to do it that way? Let's go 660 and 780. This will be the 11 hours in the day. This will be the 13 hours a day. This is the one that they call royal. This is the borderline. This is the door. You cannot go across, and you cannot stand next to the door. So we cannot use 780 or 660, 11 and M. This is Jack King, okay? This is the connection of the mind. It's not on the same thing. It's this way, it's up, and it's over. Why? That's why they put the stands, like They put the stand so when you open the scissors, you don't close the gap all the way. Anyways, whatever, regardless, you're probably asking why I put this here. The next one is 840, and the next one is 600. If you go backwards the other way, okay, this becomes 600, then it becomes 540. We didn't mark down the 540. We'll have to mark down the 540. I'm sorry if it's long and you're confused and you're not sure where we're going with this. I'm doing it as I go right now. I'm just trying to show you something that I do know. Okay? Turn the dial, but the dial stops here. That point will end up over here. That point will end up over here. This is the way it works. You're either in your zone or in their zone. How are the trains going? You go up here on a train, this thing turns and it goes automatically to here. Anyways, that's not what we're doing. 540 and 900 minutes. So whichever one you want to go, this is what our day is. This is what our day is now. This is something to do with another part of our day. I do not know what they all mean. But let's go back to the 64 minutes, okay, in an hour at 90 seconds per minute. In 90 seconds, this will give us 96 minutes. Okay? 96 minutes will equal an hour, a regular hour, times 5 hours. 450 is 480. This is where it fits in. 5 hours here, okay, is 480. Over here, it's 8 hours. This is 8 hours, this is 5. Chaldine, exchange the 8 and the 5 right over here. H and E, if I remember. It's 8 hours times 60. I like to say that this is 64 minutes metric. Metric time and regular time are not the same. Where does metric time exist? It exists here. For me, because I am of the matrix, my mind has decided and has figured out a way how to count time differently. Therefore, it is matrix creation, and then you would say 7286 in the constellation of Pegasus into my mind. Can you say Casso somethingpedia, encyclopedia, the constellation of Cassiopeia? Well, in my mind, that constellation of Cassiopeia is how something to use your mind. Where your mind is, where your mind has to go for the information, to a castle. You need the matrix, which is everywhere else, but you need to enter into the castle, into the house of words, into the house of knowledge, into the house where They bring association to a better understanding. If you know and you think you can get into it, if it doesn't exist, you imagine it. You never give it a word, but it means what it does, whatever it is. I'm going to use it as casopandria or something. So here we have 5 hours, right? We have to do this. You see this? This would be 10 hours. That's 10 hours. Okay, 10 hours. This one, okay, is 10 hours. So we have 5 and 10 hours equals to 1,440 minutes. If I understood that correctly. Over here, we have 8 hours, and over here, we have 16 hours. So this would become 8 plus 16 hours. 24 PHOENX. So we drove a 24-hour day here, and we drove 5 hours by 96 equals 480. We match here 8 and 5. Then we match 10 and 14. So we have 15 hours in metric day equals to the 24 hours in the other day, an association of 5 and 10 hours. But this must be switched. This must be 6 and 9 or 7 and 8. But 7 and 8 would give you too much sleep. This would be 6 and 9. This would be your internal clock. We have to roll on the fringes, find out the center, the high and the low, and then you must be above or below, but you can't be on. If you're on, there's no flow. If I put the water like this, we're going to have a little extra water. It's going to be hard to think, but if we put it like this, it'll flow all the way down. The water amount that fall this way will never be able to fill up this hole. The blockage would come as the beginning, as it will flow all the way down, but only fill half the pen with water, while the air is turning around, going back up, as it's sort of triangular cellularly itself or something like that. So 15 hours versus 24 hours. Here we're going to move it one more time. We're going to go 480, and we're going to go to 576. 576. And the 960 is going to go 864. Oh, this works out so perfect for me. You know why it works so perfect? Because it's all the same thing. 12 times 12 is 144. 8 by 6 is 48. They're all the same multiplications. How can they not come around again? It's just a tumbleweed, just blowing around in the same circle. How can it not come back again? It doesn't wear out. It's not something that wears out. It's something that's used and used and used, and for every breath you take, for as long as the constellation is alive, and you remember it and desire to go in, then it will always repeat and repeat. For whichever cycle you are in, what you find, what you see is what you believe and what you remember. And perceive to believe that it does repeat, then for you it repeats, but it means nothing to anybody else if I just become silent and only think it. But I share it with myself. I look into the camera, and I look into your eyes. Ronnie, I see you're there, but when I'm looking into the camera, I can't look at your eyes, so I look at the screen, because I want to see me, I want to know me, I want to go inside my head, even if it hurts, even if it takes away certain things in my life. It doesn't give me anxiety to do this. I love to do it. It's a plus for me. If it gave me anxiety, if it threw me out to the lions, I would be scared, and I don't want to come in, and I don't want to do it. Oh, but that's okay, because let me tell you one thing. You can see how happy I am? Well, the doctors, all they want to know is, are you making any videos? Are you doing okay? Are you able to sleep at night, not think so much? But why should I think less? To understand, to know, to feel and to know, to understand how it works. You will not get anxiety from it if you follow the instructions on how to be bipolar. Bipolar is to lean on the door and get in, but not to fall down on the other side. To know how much weight and energy, to know how to accept when you forget and let it be, because all you're accepting is what you lost inside yourself. You didn't lose it to anyone else, but it hurts so much, and the anxiety is so great when you lose part of your mind to a misunderstanding between two people, other than the misunderstanding between you and your numbers. You can always correct yourself and say, excuse me, I made a mistake. There's only so many times before you start losing the customers. So we're going to go back and we're going to go to this. 5, 7, and 6, 18, 57, 75, 57, 65. This is the time it started. All my work started right here. This also is 330. It's the Christ. It's 336. It's 12 moons. How so? 30 by 7 is 210. If you go to the dartboard, it's 210. The next one is 285. Center, 75 for the center, 25. 5, 7, and 6, 42, 210. If you add up all the numbers from 1 to 20, it equals 210. But we have to divide these numbers up. We cannot go here. We're talking about matrix, metric, seconds, and time. We cannot go to certain areas. I'm going to try and explain to you why. First of all, 6 by 5 is 3210. 0 equals 6 equals 216. 216? Now, guess what? In 9 days, there is 216 hours. "54 hours sleeping," and we have, let me see, 9 times, and 81 hours awake. In metric time, okay, it's 81 hours awake, Venus, 54 hours sleeping, the sun and Venus, 135, it says ace. The other 24 hours is to the cross that is on our back and to the body that carries us, the cross within the mind. When a goalie is goaltending, he puts one of these on the back of his head and he wraps it with a cross, a double cross. There's a double crossing on the back mask of a goalie. Check out hockey, you will see the double crisscrossing. It's just like the feet, our feet that are on the ground. We can use our feet, but we're not allowed to go everywhere we want to go. Just give me a minute, I'm a little thirsty. So we cannot go everywhere. So we're looking at this thing with time. We're looking at this thing with time, the last 24 hours. But it's not 24 hours, because if it's metric, okay, it's the last 15 hours that we spend with God. 7 and 8. We already did 9 and 6. So if we do 9 and 6, why don't we go 10 and 5? 10 is for the God because he's 2 hands, or man is 2 hands. 5 for the God is 1 hand. The letter J, the letter E, je. It says I am in the game. If you want to go a little deeper and play with the words in French and see the association of the different numbers that comes upon us. The bat mitzvah at 12, the bar mitzvah at 13. 12 equals 87, says the mind. Says the mind. 43, 44, the end of space of the mind of Mars and Earth is over at 87. It's now. 134 equals 7. 258 equals 4. 7 and 4 is the doghouse. 1 and 2. You want to go at 3, it's 56. That's the communication of the white wolf. That becomes 2. You have 742 inside the cat's house. 7 times 13 equals 91, which is spirit. 9 and 1 outside of Chaldean. But let's skip over this. There's just so much. 81 and 18, back to 13, back to Jupiter, back over to time. 81 hours awake in 9 days, in which the 10th day you pray to God, but he's forgot. You sought not to go out to learn, to understand what is where we are. Why not are we here, but what are we here to do? Why are we here? What are we here to do? What should we be doing? It's very simple. Let's learn and never stop. Let's love to learn and learn to love what we do and never stop. Because wanting and learning will keep away the anxiety, and we ought to know one thing. We got to know what we don't want. We want happiness, we don't want sadness. 50-50. It's a split. We want to have friends, not enemies. Boom. 50-50. That's a split. I want to be nice to everybody I could, and I don't want to be a bad person. Two answers, 50-50 on both of them. You don't want to be bad, that means you're good. You want to be good, so you're not bad. So we got to have 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 4 boxes. For the good not to be bad, and for the bad not to be good. 4 boxes. I am in the center of the 4 boxes. We have 5. And on the Mayan Sanskrit, there is 5 everywhere. 5 is where the heart is. 5 is the scissors that opens up and makes you the 2 sides of who you are. Because somehow, with your backbone, okay, there's something missing that's not actually showing you where that division is within us. And that division is overlapped, okay, because it's your rib cage. Pieces and parts. Now there was something I wanted to see. So let me think of this. Just give me a second. Can you solve this in 4 minutes and 44 seconds? Probably not. I shouldn't have gone off this page. Okay, let me come back to where we are. Okay, here we are. Now we did this. We have the 15 hours for God, and I'm assuming, okay, we cannot split it perfectly. I'm assuming there's 15 more hours, which is 1 day, which is a total of 1,440 regular minutes of 60 seconds, okay, in which 96 minutes is an hour, is 1 hour. How would we split up that last day? Would we split it up as 10 and 9, as 10 and 5, because that would be 1.5, because that's all we are maximum? Or would we split it up 8 and 7? 8 and 7 would be the brain, right? 8 hours and 7 hours. So that would be 8 hours and 7 hours, regular hours, would be 780 and 660. 78 would be the mind, 6 and 6 would be the 2 worlds. That we can split it that way. If we split it 10 and 5, it would be 960 and 480. 9 and 6 is the skull, and 480 is I believe, is the carcass of space. So which one? Do you understand? There's a reason for every minute of the day. Everything is calculated. Although it's divided up, it's 0.2 whatever every single certain moment in its own degree. The body is 480 and the mind is 96. Okay, the mind that holds everything. And not only that, it might be broken up into 4 or 5 different parts. Why? Because inside a 15-hour day, you have 3 by 5. Electric company, Earth and Jupiter. Let's not forget about the split between the day, and Venus really chopped it up real well. The other thing, 5 and 3 right over here. 1 equals 34. 3 and 4 equals 7 equals 41. 3 times 4 equals 12. 12 and 41 equals 53. How 1 now becomes time. Metric time. 81 hours awake, 54 hours asleep. 135 hours a week. 135 hours a week instead of 168 hours a week. One is metric, the other one is not. The difference would be Christ, the rotation of 9 and 6, metric time. Do I want to stop doing this video? No, but I just want to show you one more thing. 1, 4. We were talking about 141 and DNA. This is what happens. This is how many minutes here. This is how many minutes here. 576, the way the day is split up. Over here, 576 and 864 minutes of the day. This would be 6 hours
96. There would be 1,440 minutes in a day, exactly, which is 4, 4, and 1. If we added this, it would actually just be 1,440. But this is metric, and I brought it into the 10, 10, 10 world. If I bring this into the 10, 10, 10 world, okay, this becomes 5 and 8 is 13, 6 and 7 is 13, 4 and 6 is 10. 4 and 6 is man, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 6, 7, and 8. 6 and 8 on this side, 6 and 7 on this side. 4 is on this side, 7 is on this way. 1 is the gateway, 1 is the heaven. You have to go look at the cards in the deck, 6, 7, and 8. Not 5. 5 is the electronic, coming with 4. Why? Because 4 is D, and this is F, D-E-F. The electric is inside of the 4 and 6. This is man's life. This would be man's life, 864. So that would mean man's life is, let me calculate this, is 864 is 9 hours. No, this is 5 hours. This is 6 hours. Yeah, this is 9 hours. So man's life is 9 hours here, 6 hours here. 8, 6, and 4. 48 Super Bowl, Israel, Earth, Mars. 8 by 6 is 48. 48 by 4. 48 is 160 and is 192. 192 is that birth, the yellow birth between 1 and 2 at 12. The Bat Mitzvah. It also says black. The other thing I'm just trying to look is that we have 8 and 6 is 14 and 4 is 18. Reish. 6 and 7 is 13 and 5 is 18. 18, 18. I and I, A and H. D-A-D says dad. It also says D-A-D plus N. D-A-D. It almost like says dandy. Just dandy. Just dandy. George Carlin's always saying it. Just dandy. Or dandelion. So we're still inside this word. We had 8 by 6. We had 192. 4 by 6 is 24. 8 days is 168 a week. Now we're in 8 days a week. Because somehow we have 8 days a week. That's what this shows. 8 times 64 is one way, 512 memory. 2, 4, the 9 lives of the cat. MB, 4, 2, the 9 lives of the cat. And I already mentioned it in here. 48. 8 by 6 is 48. 48 and 48 is 96. Is that correct? 8 by 6 is 48. 48 and 48 is 96. 96 and 96 is 192. Plus 18 is 210. Add up to 20. It equals to 210. The same thing you have, Jen. Jen, you have something written that the number 18 in its area count has 234, 324, and 342. And in the 13, it has, I think, 234. And in the 19, I think it has 432. I wrote it down somewhere. I told you about Chinese food, eh? Somehow Chinese food is telling us people, places, and things. So we did this whole thing over here. We understood what this was 210 when I added it at the end. 5 by 7 is 35. 3.5 grams. Times 6. Does anybody know? 3.5 grams times 6? Come on. It's 21. This is the cube. And this is the ball. The cube and the ball. This is square, this one's round. I don't know why, but this is 210. And this becomes 42 by 5 is 210. 5 by 6 is 30. By 7 is 210. 8 times 6 is 48. Times 4 is 192. Plus 18, 210. 210 plus 18 is 228. 114, 114. Moon side, pigs on the moon, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days equals 114. 228. Now I got to figure out 228. Can we divide that by 4? 228, 114, 57, moon, 5775. Comes back to this number. So you have 210 and 228 makes 438. Is that what it comes out to? 8 by 6 is 48 by 4. 192, 210. This becomes 210. Now I got to get it over here. 210 plus 228 equals to 438. Does anybody know what 438 is? 4 by 3 is 12 by 8. 4 by 3 is 12. Earth and Mars and Neptune. Neptune and the creation of Earth. 4 April, 8 August. 3 is in between. So we take 4 by 3 is 4 times 38 is 152. The spirit of 512. B-E-G. Turnover, Red Rover, and beg. 512 memory plus 15 is 527. 5 is the letter E, 2 is the letter B, 7 is the letter G. It says bend over, just bend over and beg. And this all has to do with the 15-hour a day at 64 minutes per hour at 90 seconds per regular minute equals 2 15 hours compared to 24. 9 of the hours we are being cheated. Raphael, well, I can't say being cheated, but it has to do with it gets used up in the game. That's why our lives go a little bit faster, because everything they need to input into us. I mean, you don't even know it, but there's a chance this day we're having is actually only really 15 hours. But something they did with our mind that makes it feel and go a whole lot quicker. It wouldn't make a difference to us. They run the clock. Raphael 7286 in the constellation of Pegasus. I haven't just begun.